What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of a Gaming with the Bros Cast, episode 195. My name is Harrison, and I am doing a very short solo dolo episode today. Co-host Nick is he went to a concert in Maryland and went to see the Maine, and got back a little bit later on Monday, and of course, driving makes you very, very tired, so. We were initially going to skip, but I thought I'd just do a quick podcast to just talk about what I've been playing. Talk about the Game Awards a little bit because that'll be pretty relevant next week. Of course, I'll get Nick's thoughts on the Game Awards and what he thought about and what he liked and the stuff that was announced. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of briefly talk about that and kind of all the controversies that happen with the Game Awards because, of course, it's the video game industry and we can't get through anything without somebody getting upset. But yeah, we'll start the show with just what I've been playing, which hasn't been a ton. I've been playing, of course, more Halo Infinite as the current season I think is getting ready to wrap up. But yeah, still absolutely loving this game. I think it's probably my favorite multiplayer game right now. I did all the other stuff, but granted, I don't play a lot of multiplayer games, so I'm probably not the best person to give my opinion on that. I dabble in Fortnite every once in a while, but I don't play most of the hardcore stuff like Apex and Valorant and I don't know what else, man. There's so many multiplayer games at this point. It's hard to keep up, but Halo has been a staple in my kind of weekly gaming habits. I did finally start Sea of Stars. It's on Game Pass, so I finally booted that up a couple days ago. It's a great game. I can definitely see the care and love that went into this game, and the kind of the throwback to the old school RPGs, such as like Chrono Trigger, even stuff like maybe Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario. I could see the foundation of those games in this game. So far, the story is very interesting, very very heartfelt. Like the characters care about each other. Don't have a lot to say. I mean, I'm not maybe 2 hours in. The combat's really fun. It's a turn-based turn-based RPG with that mechanic like Paper Mario where if you time it right, you'll do extra damage. If you time it right, you'll defend and take less damage. But so far, the couple of bosses I've fought are fun, and yeah, I mean the game. Like I love the art style, and honestly, I love traversing kind of the world. It's one of those games where it kind of takes you in and out. Like you're going to the backdrop then bringing you to the foreground. So it's. Yeah, I love the art style. I love traversing through this world, and don't know if it's gonna like super open up. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but yeah, so far I'm really really digging it. Hopefully, I'll get this finished up by the time we do our Game of the Year stuff. Because again, I feel like with every game I played this year, any one of them could fall on my top 10. Other than that, I picked up. We'll talk about the Game Awards here in a second, but I picked up Baldur's Gate 3. It finally dropped on Xbox. It shadow dropped that night of the Game Awards. My wife, out of all people, was actually pretty excited to play this game. It is split screen co-op as well as online co-op and stuff like that. But for some reason, a couple of people at her job were talking about it and just all the crazy and wild stuff you can do in that game and how it's pretty open and with what kind of choices that you can make, and she was very excited to play. And of course, I was. I mean, it's the game of the year, according to the Game Awards. So yeah, I was very excited. So we finally booted it up on Sunday when we got some time. We created our character, very extensive character creator. Kind of like it's. I don't know. I feel like this one and Cyberpunk are pretty extensive Starfield's pretty good too, but obviously, in this game, you're going to be you know uh, picking like your genitals and stuff. Like they don't necessarily. I felt like I can't remember if Cyberpunk had like a dong slider, but this one doesn't. But I mean, there's different options that you have, which is cool. You get all types of representation in this game, and that's what a lot of people love it for. There's so many different skin variations, skin color, skin patterns, freckles. I mean, it's really really extensive. Tattoos, ear piercings, different colored eyes, all types of eye color variations. Like it's pretty detailed. We probably spent about 30 minutes creating our characters. And then we got into the game, and I guess my wife didn't realize that the game was turn-based and not like a more action oriented. So I think she may be turned off of the game. She said she's going to try and play some more, but also this may be very specific to split screen, but when you're in split screen, because it cuts the screen in half vertically, so it gets very hard to determine where you are in the map, or on the battlefield, or whatever you want to call it, and where the enemies are and where your character is. And I feel like the tutorial isn't that great. It just kind of throws you into it. Now there's like some on-screen text that pop up and stuff like that, but for like the first couple fights, we didn't know that you could hit RB and do like your special moves, or your magic, or whatever the case is. We were just kind of going up to these enemies and attacking. So that was a little bit of a bummer because we're kind of at like a standstill because we got into like the first, I guess you want to say, boss fight. I mean, we're still like in the ship or whatever in the very very beginning of the game, so we're not even like an hour in, but we're clearly at a point where I don't think we can win, and I didn't realize that there's no autosaves at all that I can tell. I think there is at some point before certain boss fights and like story moments, but there wasn't one in this case. So I had saved during this fight, but I had saved at a point where I think we would die in a couple turns. So I don't know if we have to start the game over. And does that mean we have to restart our characters and redo those again? Like, it's kind of a pain. I don't love that. I wish there was at least a pre-battle autosave or an autosave that even that starts right at the battle. I feel like that could be kind of a quality of life improvement. And then of course there's this glitch or thing going around about corrupting save files. So that's kind of scary in a game like this. So I know it's kind of like Skyrim where you're supposed to be saving often. But I mean, the good thing with like Starfield, Skyrim, like it autosaves all the time, and it autosaves like every time you enter like a new room or something like that. So a little bit of a bummer. I'm definitely going to have to dive into the combat and maybe even watch a couple of YouTube videos to try to get adjusted to it. And maybe once I have that knowledge, I'll be able to let my wife know how the game works. But right now, not blown away by it, but again, not very far into it. I know it'll get better. I don't know. She may not end up playing it with me. I may end up just having to dive in by myself, and that's totally fine. It is a very like hardcore CRPG, so I definitely get it. But so far the stories, I like this. I mean, we're still in the ship. The world seems very interesting. Pretty excited to keep going with it. It's the most high regarded game of the year. So I feel like I've got to do my due diligence and give it a shot. Still haven't played any more Mario Wonder or Super Mario RPG. I think I'm Mario'd out at this point. Lots of Mario this year. I'll probably finish the RPG. I want to dive back into Wonder with my son and finish that up. I'm not too far. I'm probably a little over halfway, so I know it's not that far. I probably won't try to do any of the collectibles at this point. Just not a big 2D Mario guy, I think. Definitely more a fan of the 3D Mario games, and that's okay, right? But I think going forward, I think like the Peach game may not be a day one for me. I'm definitely gonna have to see more. But going back to back, spending full price on the two Mario games, I'm not blown away by them. I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind going forward for the Peach game and the Luigi's Mansion. Granted, I know that's a remake of two. Um, so yeah, I'll just have to be a little bit more diligent with my spending on Nintendo games. I'll have to see more before I just immediately dive in. Um, but other than that, that's all I have been. That's all I've been playing. I do want to go back and maybe play some more Jedi, but as we're getting towards the end of the year, I need to wrap up some of the older stuff. Hi-Fi Rush, I need to finish up just for the game of the year discussion because there's a lot of stuff to play. um, let's dive into to the Game Awards. So I thought the overall showing was pretty good. I would say a C. It was very very Jeff Keighley-esque, where it started off pretty good, like the first 30 minutes, and then we got just that maybe hour and a half lull of where nothing was really happening. And announcement wise, of course. I feel like every Keeley thing is that though. Like it starts out really good, and then it's kind of a nothing burger for an hour and a half, and then like maybe we'll get an announcement or two that's really cool. But let's go over the announcements. So they ended with Monster Hunter Wilds, which as a person that doesn't love Monster Hunter, this was kind of a letdown for me. I didn't expect to be blown away by like a last announcement thing. I really did expect to see Elden Ring. I thought that could close the show. I know a lot of people like myself are hoping for Metroid Prime 4, which we obviously didn't get. Monster Hunter Wilds, it looks good, but it's not coming till 2025. So I don't know. I don't know if that was just a case that maybe there just wasn't anything else that he could have announced or anything big to show. But, for Monster Hunter fans, that's cool. But again, it's 2025. It's probably early 2025, so that's good. It's not going to be like GTA 6, where GTA 6 it's gonna be 2 years away from, like, we say 2025 and we want to say, oh, it's a year out, but no, it's holiday probably 2025, so probably 2 years away. We got the OD announcement from Hideo Kojima's Xbox exclusive game. Jordan Peele is involved in it, which is very cool. Obviously Jordan Peele is kind of a master at this point of horror, the horror genre, and I'm very excited to see Kojima go back to the horror roots. Well, obviously we got, I guess not to his roots, but PT was an incredible demo that we got. I've still got it on my PS4. I haven't played it in a while, but that's one of those things that I go back to every few years just because it's incredible. But yeah, it was just another like let's bring Hideo on the stage and have 10 minutes talking about this game that we don't know a lot about, and that kind of ties into the discussion of this year felt very. Obviously, this is for the developers, but it felt, I don't know, it something felt a little bit off with this award ceremony. I know. Obviously, Jeff cares a lot, and you've got to appease, the people that are funding this thing. The marketers. You got to have the heavy marketing and stuff like that. But this one felt very corporate, to the point where, they were giving, developers a minute to give their speech and holding up a please wrap it up sign. I know this has a lot to do with Christopher Judge's, they say it was an 8-minute speech last year, but it felt like it was more than that, right? It definitely felt more than 8 minutes, but yeah, it just felt very corporate this year. I mean, when you've got Eiji Onuma on the stage, the lead designer uh, of of Zelda right now, of Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, and you're telling this man to wrap it up when he's fluent in Japanese. His main language is Japanese, and he's got an interpreter beside him, and you're telling this man to wrap it up. It seems so corporate. Like, come on, like this is one of the greatest designers in gaming right now, and you're telling him to wrap it up. That seems crazy. And then when Larian came on the stage, and they only let them bring, I think, two people on the stage now, two or three, just because of the whole thing that happened last year with the Bill Clinton kid, and they brought they brought so many people in, and he kind of snuck in. Um, and they're talking about the design and all that stuff, and then it's not the Game Awards' fault, but it's like right when they were talking about the person passing away during development, and then the music comes on. It's like, man, it feels kind of bad. But I know, again, that's not their fault in the timing of things when they were in their speech. But, and I'm not saying we need like 3 to 4 minute speeches, but like maybe 2 minutes. Like, this is a big deal, and I know that most people don't care about the Game Awards; they just care about the announcements. I know game developers do care because it's a moment in their history where they're getting awarded for something that they spent years on, blood, sweat, and tears. So it's important. Big moment that I thought for me was God of War Ragnarok. Is getting some free DLC actually today of recording. Which when we saw Kratos come on, I was like, oh my god, they're what is this, like a spin-off game? Is this like the Atreus game? But no, it's the free DLC titled Valhalla. It's like a roguelike kind of thing, Trials combat, which is pretty disappointing, but it's free. And it did come out today that there is some story behind this thing that takes place after the events of Ragnarok. So that's pretty cool. I'll probably at least check it out. Don't know if I'm gonna finish it or anything like that, but hey, at least we got some free DLC is always cool. Now, I'm not gonna go through every single announcement, just kind of the big ones. Marvel's Blade is in development at Arcane Studios. It's a third-person Xbox game. We don't know if it's Xbox exclusive or not. That's kind of the big story out of the Blade announcement. But again, it's third person, which is weird for Arcane. So we'll see how that it translates and how that looks. But could be very cool. This is one of those things where it's a licensed game, so we don't know. It could go either way. I could see it being an Xbox exclusive, except it's going to be Game Pass, so they're not going to be selling a ton of copies of that. And Marvel's going to want that money, right? They're going to want the game to sell. So it could be one of those things where it's going to be on Game Pass, and then it's going to come to PlayStation. It's going to come to PC, but it could also come to PlayStation. That's kind of up in the air. But we'll see how that goes. Very excited though. I mean, Blade's a very cool franchise. So it could be very interesting. The third person is interesting to me. We'll see how that pans out. Sega announced a bunch of games in development, including Jet Set Radio, which is awesome. No Man's Sky, developer Hello Games showing off the new game. Light No Fire, which the lead designer came out and he was kind of ambitious about his talking, which everyone was like, please, like don't be over ambitious, don't oversell the game. Let's just see how it looks and we'll go from there. What else did we get? Skull and Bones got another release date, February 16th. We'll see if that comes out. Big moment in the show for me. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero got a proper reveal. Not Budokai Tenkaichi 4, but it's basically Budokai Tenkaichi 4. Very excited. I love my Dragon Ball fighting games, so we hopefully that turns out great. Hopefully it comes out pretty soon. kind of a big surprise for me. The Ori developer Moon Studios, No Rest for the Wicked, looks like a kind of like an ARPG, kind of like a Diablo-esque game. It looks great. Mr. All Right himself came out, Matthew McConaughey, and a new sci-fi RPG coming out from some BioWare developers. It's called Exodus. I don't know. It doesn't look super intriguing to me yet. It looks kind of generic, but we'll see. The Jurassic Park survival game coming from Saber looks interesting. A lot of people have been kind of saying that it's Alien Isolation, but in Jurassic Park. So that could be very cool. Like a horror Jurassic Park game could be awesome. We got another look at Hellblade. At this point, I am super hyped for Hellblade, but I am just ready. And we got a little bit of gameplay. I'm ready for a release date. We still haven't gotten a release date yet, which is insane. It's been in the Game Awards 3 years in a row. So at this point, I'm just ready for the game to come out. It looks like the most gorgeous game on any platform. It looks incredible. I'm pretty excited. I played this game a bunch at this point, but Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is getting a remake. Coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, PC. I don't know if the Switch had co-op, so hopefully these remastered versions have co-op as well. The original you played both characters with the controller. One stick controlled one, and the other stick controlled the other. Still a really cool game, but co-op is definitely where it's at with that. And that's. There's definitely a bunch of other announcements, but nothing that blew me away necessarily. I'm just kind of scrolling through the list of all the announcements here. Yeah, nothing.
I need one of you to prick yourself with this pin and drop 3 drops of blood into this cauldron.
I have -1 constitution. I can't be doing stuff like that. That would bring my hit points way down.
I'll do it.
I can't spare it.
I can't spare the hit points.
Can you tell me what a hit point is?
It's I'm a weak man. And
well, with an attitude like that, of course you are.
Strong-willed, though.
Yeah, strong-willed.
Anything else that was really crazy? World of Goo 2 revealed. Let's see. Yeah, nothing crazy. Overall, I would say it was a C. It was a long show. It was like 3 hours. Again, the announcements kind of came. They were strong at first, and then it just kind of was a not a lot of like great stuff in the middle, and then the end was decent. And again, ending on Monster Hunter Wilds. Again, not a big Monster Hunter fan, so not super excited for that last announcement, but it is what it is. But the big controversy coming out of, because of course, is Game of the Year. Out of all things, like I thought it was a lock-in for Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate 3, but the Spider-Man fans felt some type of way. And maybe because it was nominated for like 6 or 7 awards and didn't get any. And then for some reason they thought that they were going to get Game of the Year, which is kind of insane. I don't know. I still haven't played Spider-Man 2. I don't have a PS5. I want to play it. All the kind of the commentary coming out of Spider-Man 2 that it was a really fantastic sequel. It was a better game than Spider-Man 1, and that's kind of about, obviously, like, the fast travel thing was very cool, but other than that, that was about it. Like, I didn't see people that were like, oh, this is the greatest game of all time, that were, most of the stuff that's that's most of the commentary coming out of PlayStation exclusives these days. Is like every game is the greatest game of all time, even though they're usually not. Like obviously, God of War last year was incredible. But yeah, just a lot of controversy about the Game of the Year stuff, and I don't know. Like, there's one clip going around on Twitter, that was like the beginning of the game, I guess, when you're fighting Sandman, and it was just like it was. I think PlayStation has gotten into the minds of the gamers where they blend, like I think the blending of gameplay and like not a trailer, but like the gameplay and like a scene where Spider-Man is tumbling through a building and maybe you tap triangle to avoid something. Like that's not gameplay. Not really. I wouldn't say gameplay is like actually fighting and swinging and stuff like that, but that's just, it's funny that clip was the one that was chosen to where oh, this is gameplay versus Baldur's Gate 3 is turn-based stuff. So yeah, it's just funny that like I don't know. I put a TikTok up. Someone had done a video on TikTok or whatever and was like, how did Spider-Man 2 not win? And I was just like, you know what? I'm convinced. I'm actually convinced now that the PlayStation, the ponies. I'm not talking about just PlayStation people in general, because I'm talking about the hardcore ponies, the PlayStation. I said meat riders, the PlayStation meat riders on TikTok, and I think that's what got my video removed because it was like deemed bullying. So I don't know if somebody reported it or not, but I thought it was funny nonetheless. But I'm convinced that they just live in a bubble and they only play like PlayStation first party exclusives, like not even PlayStation games, like Elden Ring and stuff like that, like Alan Wake, like actual, they just play first party games. So it's, yeah, when Spider-Man 2 was the only first party game really that came out this year, of course that's your game of the year, right? But I find, but in these videos, people are like, "What is Baldur's Gate 3? I've never even heard of it. What is Alan Wake 2?" Because Alan Wake 2 it also swept the Game Awards. It won a lot of awards. Zelda only won one, which I thought was crazy. But I mean, Alan Wake 2 and Baldur's Gate 3 kind of swept, and deservingly so. I mean, Alan Wake 2 was, honestly, if Alan Wake 2 took the Game of the Year award, I would be ecstatic. I would be so excited for them. But when you come out and say, what is Alan Wake 2 and what is Baldur's Gate 3, the biggest game of the year, either you're lying or you're just delusional. I don't know what the answer is. Like you can't just live in this bubble where that's all you know about is Spider-Man. But maybe you do. I don't know. I feel like I hark on like PlayStation all the time, and I don't mean to, but the PlayStation like hardcore ponies are like the worst gaming community online, and they're insufferable, and I wish they would just stay in their own bubble and just talk to each other and just leave everybody else alone, because it is so annoying. Like Spider-Man 2, the only, I think personally to me, and again I haven't played Spider-Man 2, but the only award I thought it even had a chance was maybe in best performance, and of course it didn't win that. Everything else, I don't think it had even a remote shot. Like leading up to the Game Awards, it was clearly Tears of the Kingdom versus Baldur's Gate 3. And that was like last year's Elden Ring and God of War. Like there was no other game really in that consideration. So I don't know. It's funny, but yeah, that was kind of the big controversy. And then obviously, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but with the whole corporate thing with the Game Awards, and it just felt kind of wrong pushing it. And then like some other games were just kind of pushed to the side. Like they had the side stage, and they're like, oh yeah, Sea of Stars won best indie game, like just in a quick announcement. It's like, man, like they couldn't have gotten like a little bit of stage time, but I get it. It's a show and they want to get these announcements out, but when you have Hideo come up and do a 10-minute plus speech about his new game with no like gameplay, like I don't know, and then you got all the ads and stuff like that. And again, I get ads are important, but you have all the ads come up, and it just seems a little bit too corporate. but I don't know how to fix that, right? Um, but now that we know that E3 is officially dead, they came out and said that early this morning. It sucks because now there's nothing else. Like it's just kind of Jeff Keighley holding the industry down, and then so, and I like Jeff Keighley, but I don't know, his shows haven't been the best, in my opinion. The Game Awards is definitely the best, and I really do enjoy it. Like my brother and I streamed it, and we had a great time just talking over it. Like it was a blast. But and it all comes down to the announcements, right? There's nothing too great. But as we moved on from E3, and E3 has obviously been dead for quite a while. Game companies have been splitting off and doing their own showcases. PlayStation left E3 they were the first ones to do it. They left years ago, and just do their own showcase around that time, or maybe don't. So everything's kind of spread apart now. But I do miss the days of just everything being together, and we get these incredible announcements, and we could talk about them. But everyone's got their own direct and showcase and whatever, and they can get more eyes on their specific stuff during that time versus E3 where everything's together and stuff. Some smaller stuff could get lost. So yeah, it's tough, and it's definitely tough, and rest in peace E3, because it was truly a magical moment. Back in when it was high, right? In its high and its peak times, E3 was incredible when we had the big three there, in the other conferences and stuff like that. So, rest in peace, E3. We will definitely miss you, but hopefully Jeff can kind of keep the reins going, because we definitely need that. We definitely need that summertime showcases and stuff like that. So. I don't know. I've got faith in Jeff, but the Game Awards need a little bit of an adjustment this year, and he's already acknowledged that some stuff will change, so that's good. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to wrap up the show this week. Again, I know it was going to be a quick one with just me rambling here, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back next Monday, or we should be. I don't think we'll have any delays or anything like that. But so we'll be back next Monday, and we'll get Nick's thoughts on the Game Awards and what he liked and didn't like, and the stuff that he's been playing, because I know he's pretty deep into Baldur's Gate 3 as well. So we'll be talking more Baldur's Gate 3 next week, and hope you guys everyone enjoys their week. Bye bye.